Have you ever wondered if you've gone beyond surface level attraction, if you've actually touched someone's soul? Because when you do, it's not about words, it's not about charm, it's about how deeply they feel you in their life. Today I want to share with you 10 sweet signs that you've touched their soul in a way that changes how they see you, how they show up with you, and how they hold you in their heart. And as you hear these, think about the moments in your own life where you've seen even one of these signs. It will tell you everything about the depth of that connection. If even one of these signs resonated with you, don't just keep it to yourself. Share this with someone who needs to hear it today, because they might not realize how deeply they've already impacted another person's life. There are connections that barely touch the surface, relationships that exist only in the space of comfort or timing. Maybe it's chance, maybe it's a passing attraction. They stay in our lives for a short while and then fade away, leaving behind nothing more than faint traces of memory. But then there are other kinds of bonds, the rare ones, the ones that run so deep they cannot be described with ordinary words. They don't feel like an accident, and they don't feel like a temporary stop. They feel like fate. They feel like threads being gently woven together that were always meant to cross. When you have reached into someone's soul, when your presence has slipped beneath the layers of who they thought they were, something permanent takes place. The connection shifts from surface interaction into something sacred, and the proof of that bond doesn't always arrive in loud declarations or heavy promises. It shows itself in quiet, gentle signs that are impossible to miss. To touch someone's soul in this way is to awaken a part of them they may not have even known was asleep. It is to stir a hidden place inside them that recognizes in you a reflection, a safety, or a comfort they never believed could exist. You stop being just another person in the crowd and instead become a point of meaning, a source of truth, a reminder of closeness that is deeper than anything physical. In your company, they feel like they can breathe freely, like they don't have to act, like all the masks they wear for the world can finally be set down. This is not simple affection. This is not just attraction. It is soul recognition, and it leaves an imprint that lasts long after. People spend much of their lives craving this kind of recognition. Many walk through their days surrounded by endless noise, endless talk, endless faces, but rarely do they feel true connection. They laugh, they chat, they interact, but inside there is often an emptiness that longs for something real, something that goes beyond the surface. When someone finally touches their soul, it feels as though that hunger has been fed, even if only briefly. That is why these signs are so powerful. They can't be faked. They can't be forced into existence. They happen naturally because when you meet someone at their deepest level, everything about how they treat you begins to change. The beauty of this kind of closeness is that it doesn't need to be shouted with big speeches. It doesn't require grand shows. It reveals itself quietly, in the way they look at you differently, in the way they remember tiny details you didn't think mattered, in the way their voice softens when they say your name, in the way your absence weighs more than anyone else's. These little moments are proof that you've become part of the fabric of their inner world. And once you reach that place, it is impossible for them to ever see you as just another face. It's important to notice that these signs are not always loud, they are gentle. Sometimes they are so faint you might miss them if you are too busy or too restless. But when you pay attention, they are impossible to deny. The soul doesn't lie. It shows itself through emotions, through behavior, through the way someone makes room for you without even realizing it. It shows itself in the spark in their eyes when you walk in, or the unease when you walk away. These are not signs of a casual bond. They are proof of depth. And here lies the truth. Touching someone's soul is not about control. It's not about trying to push them into feeling something for you. It's about resonance. It happens because who you are, the way you live, connects with something inside them. Maybe it's the way your words reach into their hidden pain. Maybe it's the way your laughter breaks through their walls. Maybe it's the way your silence feels like a safe place. Whatever the reason, the bond happens naturally without force. And once it does, they cannot help but respond with these tender, unspoken signs. This is why seeing these signs matters, because once you notice them, you realize you're not just imagining the closeness. You're not depending on fantasy or wishful thinking. You are witnessing real proof that you've touched them in a way far beyond surface attraction. These signs confirm the honesty of the connection. They remind you that it is not one-sided, not an illusion, but something deeply shared, even when it goes unspoken. And when you see them, you begin to understand how rare and valuable this kind of closeness really is. Most people you meet will never show you these signs. Most relationships will come and go without leaving such a mark. But when you encounter one, you must pause and understand how serious it is, because to touch someone's soul is to leave a mark that time cannot take away. It is to become a part of their journey, a part of their healing, a part of their growth. As we step into exploring the 10 tender signs that show when you've touched someone's soul, keep this in mind. These are not ordinary actions. They are reflections of something rare. They are signs of a bond that goes beyond conditions, a bond written not only in words but also in energy, in emotions, in the quiet truth of human connection. To notice them is to honor the specialness of what you share, and to realize that in a world full of short-lived encounters, you have found something lasting, something real, something unforgettable. When you've touched someone's soul deeply, one of the first and clearest signs is the way they look at you. The eyes reveal truths that words often cannot. In normal interactions, people look at each other to talk, to answer, or simply as part of politeness. But when a connection goes deeper, their eyes show something much more. There is a warmth in their gaze, almost as if they are trying to hold on to your very essence. It isn't just a look. It is a lingering moment that feels like they are seeing through to who you really are instead of just looking at you on the surface. Their eyes hold yours longer than usual, not because they are trying to force it, but because they don't want that moment to end. In that gaze, there is care, comfort, curiosity, and a silent recognition that words don't have to explain. That you have reached a side of them they didn't even know could be touched. This kind of gaze is not the same as the quick glances of attraction. Attraction can feel strong, but it often fades fast and without depth. The gaze of someone whose soul you've touched carries stillness, a quiet weight that almost feels sacred. It isn't rushed, it isn't restless, it isn't demanding, it is calm and steady. They may look at you in moments of silence when no words are being spoken, and yet the silence feels full. It feels like everything important is being said without sound. They look at you as though they are trying to figure out how you even exist, as though your very presence is a mystery worth exploring. And when they look away, it isn't because they have lost interest. It's because sometimes the depth of that feeling is too much to hold all at once. This gaze shows itself in little tender moments you might not notice right away. Maybe it's the way their eyes find you in a crowded place. Even if there are dozens of others around, their vision drifts back to you again and again without them even trying. It isn't something they plan. It isn't something they calculate. It just happens. Their soul is drawn toward yours, and their eyes reveal what their words may be too hesitant to admit. Or perhaps it's the way they watch you when you're unaware, the way they pay attention to your gestures, your expressions, your smallest movements, as though every detail of you matters. Psychologically, this happens because a deep emotional bond bypasses the usual logical filters of the mind. When someone feels seen by you in a way they never felt before, they naturally respond by wanting to see you more clearly too. Their gaze becomes the way they hold on to that feeling. They look at you not out of duty, but because being near you stirs something inside them that they want to experience again and again. Their eyes become a bridge, a channel that lets them connect more deeply without words. And when you notice it, you understand that it isn't just attraction. it is reverence. It is also worth noticing that this kind of gaze isn't only about intensity. Sometimes it is about softness. Sometimes it is about the way their eyes change when you walk in, or the way their whole face shifts when you speak. You may see their eyes brighten, as though the weight they've been carrying suddenly feels lighter because of you. Or you may notice that when you are near them, they drop some of their guard, becoming less hardened by the world. Their eyes show that openness, that trust, that willingness to stand unmasked. That is because you have touched a part of them that feels safe with you, a part that knows it can come alive without fear of judgment. The gaze also shows itself in hard times. When someone's soul has been touched, they don't just look at you in joy or peace. They look at you in sadness too, searching for comfort. They may not always say much, but their eyes give away their need for support, their silent request for you to be there. And in those moments, you see the truth of what you mean to them. Because the reality is, people don't allow just anyone to see their bare emotions in times of struggle. But when you've reached their soul, you become the rare exception. Another layer of this sign is how unforgettable that gaze becomes. You'll find yourself replaying the way they looked at you, how it felt, the silent closeness of it. And for them, it becomes something they cannot easily let go of either. Long after you part ways, they will remember how it felt to look at you, and even more, how it felt to be looked at by you. Because for them, it wasn't just looking, it was connection. It was feeling understood without speaking. That memory stays alive, and it becomes part of the reason your presence continues to echo in their heart even when you are not there. The gaze isn't always about romance. It goes further than that. It is about recognition, about two souls finding reflection in one another. Romance may be present, but the depth goes beyond it. It is about the sacredness of being truly seen, of feeling like another human being has reached past your surface and into your essence. That is why it feels rare, significant, unforgettable. If you pay attention, you'll notice that their gaze shifts in ways it never does with others. It carries layers: gratitude, openness, affection, longing, peace. It tells a story that their words may not yet be ready to tell. And once you notice it, you cannot ignore it again. That is the power of touching someone's soul. Their eyes become a canvas where the truth of your bond is painted. Words can be doubted, intentions can be questioned, but the honesty of that gaze will never be mistaken. So the first clear sign that you've touched someone's soul deeply is this: their eyes reveal it. They will look at you differently than they look at anyone else. Their gaze will hold a depth that you cannot confuse with anything shallow. It will be gentle, it will be steady, it will be unforgettable. And in those moments, you will know, not because they said it, not because they made dramatic gestures, but because their soul chose to show itself through their eyes. And the soul never lies. Another sure sign that you've touched someone's soul deeply is in the way they hold on to the smallest details about you. Little things you may not have thought were important, moments you may not even recall, words you may have already forgotten. When someone carries your presence within them, they don't just remember the big events or obvious facts. They keep the little pieces of you as though each one matters. They recall how you like your coffee, the book you once said changed your life, the song you play when you're stressed, or the childhood memory you shared casually and forgot about. These things stay alive in them, not because they're forcing themselves to remember, but because you have left an imprint. This kind of remembering is not normal. Most people forget quickly, even when it's something important, because their minds are busy or their attention is shallow. But when someone remembers you at this level, it isn't about trying, it's about connection. It's as if the pieces of your life naturally find a home in their memory without needing to ask. The human mind may forget, but the human soul does not. When you've touched someone's soul, their attention becomes sharper around you. They notice things others miss. They listen differently because they aren't just hearing your words. They are taking in you. And there is something deeply comforting in being remembered this way. It tells you that you are not invisible. that you are not just another passing face in someone's crowded life. It tells you that you matter enough for them to carry a part of you with them even when you are far away. When they bring up something you said months earlier, or surprise you by recalling a tiny detail you had already forgotten, it becomes a quiet but powerful statement. I see you. I remember you. You live inside me. And this is not something people do for just anyone. It is a sign of depth, a mark of soulful impact. Psychologically, this happens because emotional weight creates memory. The brain is wired to keep what carries meaning. If you've touched someone's soul, their heart and mind attach importance to even the smallest things about you. What may seem meaningless to others becomes meaningful to them because it is tied to the way they feel when they are with you. They are not just remembering facts, they are remembering how those facts connect to the comfort of being near you. This kind of memory shows itself in countless small ways. They may mention something you said long ago in a random conversation, surprising you with how clearly they still hold on to it. They may give you a gift that reflects a personal story you once shared, leaving you wondering how they even remembered. They may repeat your own words back to you when you least expect it, almost as if they are reminding you of the wisdom you once gave them. It's as though nothing about you is wasted in their presence. Everything is absorbed, treasured and carried, and it goes beyond remembering. It's about living those memories out loud. When someone has truly been touched at the soul, they don't just keep details in their head, they shape their actions around them. If you once said you feel peace by the ocean, they may invite you to the shore. If you confess that certain days are heavy for you, they might check in without being asked. If you shared a hidden dream, they may quietly encourage it, showing you that they believe in it too. These gestures are not duty. They flow naturally because you have become part of their inner life. There is also something spiritual in this remembering. It feels like their soul collects little pieces of you, not to own them, but to honor them. They hold on to your quirks, your preferences, your stories, because together those pieces make up who you are, and to them that picture is precious. They don't have to force themselves to think of you because you already live within them. You have become part of their private thoughts, part of their emotional world, part of the quiet moments when they reflect. That's why you might hear them speak about you even when you're not there, because your presence continues to shape their thinking. This sign is sweet because it proves that soul connection is not only about big gestures, it is about something as simple as being noticed. In a noisy world, being remembered is one of the greatest gifts. Many people feel unseen, unheard, or forgotten. To be remembered down to the smallest detail is to feel deeply valued. It is proof that your life has left an imprint on another, and what makes this sign even more powerful is its consistency. Anyone can remember something once or twice, but when someone's soul has been touched, this remembering never stops. They carry you not only in important events, but in the ordinary flow of daily life. They might mention you in passing, or find themselves connecting an experience back to you. A song, a scent, a phrase, a place, all of it can bring you to mind. The world itself feels colored by your presence because they've stored you so deeply. And here is the truth. People don't remember what doesn't matter to them. Forgetting is simple when something holds no weight. Remembering with such clarity is proof of importance. It proves that you've reached beyond their surface and touched something inside they cannot deny. Even if they tried, they could not erase you because you have been carved not only into their memory, but also into their heart. So when you see that someone remembers your smallest details, the words you tossed out casually, the moments you thought had passed, the stories you barely recalled, it is not chance, it is evidence. Evidence that your presence has reached their soul, that you live inside them in ways you may not fully realize. And once you have touched them at that depth, it is not something they can undo. You have become unforgettable. Another sweet sign that you've touched someone's soul is the way they feel a deep comfort in your presence. Comfort may sound simple, but when it comes from soul recognition, it turns into something extraordinary. Most of the time, people move through life with masks. They protect themselves, change how they act, and filter their words to fit situations because being their raw self feels unsafe. The world teaches us to hide our pain, to look strong even when we're fragile, to keep distance even when we long for closeness. But when someone feels truly at ease with you, when their guard falls without them even realizing it, that is rare, and it shows you've reached them beyond the surface. This comfort shows itself in small yet powerful ways. They may talk to you in a voice that sounds different, softer, freer, unedited, as if they don't need to filter themselves. They may share things they usually keep buried, not because they plan to, but because being with you feels safe enough to let them out. They may laugh more openly, without control, or sit with you in silence without needing to fill it. And in those silences, in those unguarded moments, you begin to see something deeper happening. Their soul has recognized yours. In that recognition, the heavy performance of life fades. When you've touched someone's soul, your presence becomes like a refuge. You are not just another person in their life. You are a safe place in a world that constantly demands pretending, achieving, or proving. You become the one space where they can simply exist. They don't need to wear the armor they wear for others. They don't need to uphold an image or chase approval. They feel accepted for who they really are, their flaws, their softness, their truth. That kind of comfort is rare. It cannot be made up or forced. It appears naturally when a soul feels understood, when it knows that judgment has no place in your presence. Psychologically, this comfort is linked to emotional safety. The nervous system reacts differently when we feel secure with someone. Stress drops, breathing eases, the body relaxes, and this is not something that can be faked. It is a real physical shift. That is why you may notice that someone actually looks more relaxed around you, as if a weight has been taken off. Their voice steadies, their shoulders ease, their whole energy softens. This isn't random. It's their soul knowing it has found safety in you. This comfort also reaches into vulnerability. You may see them sharing things with you they don't normally share with others. They tell you their fears, their worries, their regrets, their hidden dreams. They open their past not with shame, but with trust, because you've touched a place inside that tells them it's okay to be human. Vulnerability is the natural answer to deep understanding, and when someone keeps being vulnerable with you again and again, it shows the bond is far deeper than simple attraction. You've reached the center of who they are, and that is why they feel safe enough to open it to you. There is also comfort in the silence they share with you. Many people feel they must keep talking or entertaining when they are with others. But with you, that pressure fades. They can sit beside you quietly, and the silence doesn't feel empty. It feels warm. That is the mark of a soul connection. When silence feels full rather than hollow, it's because your souls are speaking in ways your mouths don't need to. They don't need to prove themselves because the bond has already shown itself to be real. And perhaps one of the sweetest things about this comfort is how it grows stronger as time passes. In most relationships, comfort fades. At first, people are polite, careful and thoughtful, but later flaws and rough edges come out, and sometimes closeness weakens. But when you've touched someone's soul, the opposite happens. Time makes them even more open. Their trust builds, their honesty expands, their real self becomes clearer. What starts as small relaxation grows into a deep knowing that they can be fully themselves with you, no fear of rejection. This isn't just emotional comfort, it is life-changing comfort. It affects how they grow as a person. When you've touched someone's soul, they feel free to explore sides of themselves they've kept hidden. They may chase dreams they once let go because your presence makes them feel safe enough to want more. They may allow emotions they usually hold back to surface because with you, they know they won't be judged. You don't just make them comfortable, you make them feel more alive, more real, more connected to themselves. themselves. The depth of this comfort can also be felt in your absence. When you're not there, they notice. The world feels heavier, harsher, less gentle. But with you, life feels softer, more peaceful, like it has balance again. That contrast reminds them of how rare the bond truly is. They may not even be able to explain it in words, but they know being around you feels like returning home. And once someone has felt that, it's not something they forget.